In this video, we're going to look at applications and imagine that we are selling something, whatever this item is. The revenue is going to be equal to the price of the item that we are selling it for multiplied by how many items we sell, which is going to be X. So for example, if we sell 10 items, then it's going to be 120 times 10. If we sell X items, it's going to be 120 times X. So that's your revenue. Okay, very simple. The cost function typically will have at least two terms. The first term, the 85X, this is called the variable cost. Now, why are they saying variable? You can see that X is in there, right? Plus 3,640, which is called the fixed cost. So what's the difference between the variable cost and the fixed cost? Obviously, you can see that the fixed cost does not depend on X. It's just a number. So what is that? That is before you start making this item. You still have to have some expenses that do not depend on how many items you're actually going to produce. So for example, you have to pay people, you have to probably rent some office space, you have to pay for electricity. I mean, all of these expenses that do not depend on the number of items. And then 85 is how much it costs you to make each item. So that's going to be 85 times X. Now, you break even when the two are equal each other. So in other words, your revenue and your cost are equal and your profit is zero. And this is a very important number that you need to understand to decide if your business is profitable or not. So first, let's find this break-even quantity by setting them equal each other and solving for X. Okay, so the first step, I'm going to subtract 85X from both sides. And that's going to give me, I think that's 5, this is 11, 35. 35X equal, now on this side, this is going to cancel so that you're just going to get 3,640. Finally, because remember the default operation is multiplication, we are just going to divide both sides by 35. So let's see. So if I were to just open a calculator, take that fixed cost and divide it by the difference, which is 35. That gives me 104. Now, I also want you to graphically look at the situation before we finish this question. If you look at the graph, so here I graphed the revenue function, which is red, and the cost function, which is blue. Now, when I click on the point where they intersect, you can see that this is 104, which is what we got, right? Our X value is 104. The Y value is the actual cost and revenue when they equal to each other. And the profit is going to be the difference. But look at what happens in the beginning. So in the beginning, before you actually get into 104, which function is larger? So look at the graph. So the blue graph, this is the cost. And the red graph, that's your revenue. So if you are selling and producing less than 104, your cost is larger than revenue, and your profit is going to be negative, which is not good. But once you pass that 104, that break-even quantity, they switch, right? So now what's going to happen is your revenue is going to be here on the top, and then your cost is going to be on the bottom. So here you're actually going to make money. Okay. All right. So let's take a look at the last part. Okay. So this one just says profit function. The way to find profit is take the revenue and subtract the cost. So you're going to have to take revenue, which is 120X, and then you subtract the cost function. But what's important is when you subtract, you need to put it in parentheses. So that's very important because you're going to be distributing this minus. This is actually a very common mistake is people just put a plus. So if you were to put a plus 3,000, it's like, it's not your cost. It's like you getting this money. But that's not right because it's your cost. So cost is negative, okay? Because nobody's paying you. You are paying to get the business started or whatever. So let's see, 120X minus 85X, that's 35X. And then minus 3,640, that's going to be the profit. So another way you can solve for the break-even quantity is to set this equal 0, and you'll get exactly the same equation. Now, the last part, we need to decide if we are about to produce and sell 127, would it make sense or not? So as long as this number is higher than the break-even quantity, then it would make sense. So I would say yes, because 127 is higher than 104. We are going to proceed with the product line. The product is profitable.